All right, Bannock County Board of Commissioners is back in session as the Board of Equalization. With us today, we have the Portneuf Health Trust, and you've been through this often enough. I'm not going to read the script to you. You know how it works. So I'll have you rise, and Nancy can swear you in, and we'll get started.
Do you solemnly swear that any testimony you're about to give shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
All right, go ahead and state your name. And while Portneuf Health Trust has multiple properties, we're here to talk about just one, which then will kind of apply to multiple other properties where we go from there. So which property would you like to talk about today, Clark?
So it's the PHT 1001 North 7th Avenue. It's parcel number 152800. It should have been in the packet. I did bring copies.
Yep, we got it.
You got it. Okay.
Okay, so go ahead and state your name, and then your time will begin.
Okay. So I'm Clark Bitton. I'm the CFO for Portneuf Health Trust. And if you refer to the assessment, the assessed value appeal form, the owner's name again is the PHT 1001 North 7th Avenue, which we refer to as the City Center. It's the building over by the City Hall. It's about a 50,640 square foot building. The parcel number was 152800, and I had attached it with the application on page 3. So on May 15th, this parcel was approved for a 43% tax exemption, and I appreciate that. Thank you for doing that for us. On page 5 of the application, I had a little spreadsheet that showed each of the people that we lease to, what their status is. You know, are they governmental, or are they 501c3, what suite they're in, the usable square footage, the percentage, and then the annual revenue. And then I did a description out to the side of what their purposes are. Are they mental health? Are they clinics? They're all healthcare related as per our mission. And so there's 57.61% that we're leasing out, and that gives me the 43% which the county approved, which is not leased out, which we use as the Portneuf Health Trust. Okay, and so thank you for that approval. My question, or my purpose for today, is that I'm requesting that we increase that from 43% to 69%, and my justification, my argument on this would be, for instance, some of the people that we have in there, the businesses, are 501c3. So for instance, Health West, just across the street, has a building that they are a 501c3, and they don't get charged property tax exempt, but because they'd outgrown that building, they moved into our building. And so I had the square footage that they'd have, and I would like to include that as part of that exemption. The same thing for like the Pocatello Free Clinic. They had moved from the old firehouse, which was really a house, and moved over into our building, which they're a 501c3. The Bannock County D6 Treatment Center, I'm not sure where they moved from before, but I pulled them out, and that's what makes up the percentages. If I pull those 501c3s out, which would be the Crisis Center, the D6 Treatment, Health West, the Free Clinic, and the Centers for Hope. Those are all 501c3s or governmental. That comes up with my calculation of 69%.
Okay.
Is that 3 minutes already?
That was 3 minutes, but you fit a lot of information in. Well done. Well done.
And I guess that was my request, and then I would just like to apply it to the other building.
Okay.
So the same thing is, I've got the allocation worksheet, shows how much the Portneuf Health Trust doesn't lease out, which on the spreadsheet it's 43% also, and then a list of all of the like the ISU and the VA and everything, which comes up to about 84% that we would request for the executives. So just follow the same mathematical.
All right. Assessor, do you have any questions?
No.
Board, do you have any questions at this time?
No, just a few statements, and I mean, we've gone over this time and time again, but some of these agencies that are in there, they come to us and we give them money to facilitate their business. And so to me, I feel like just because they're a 501c3 doesn't mean that they automatically get a tax exempt. Because we're already given some of these $50,000 and stuff. And so to me, we're doing it twice. And then we talked about D6 and they pay just under $9,000 a month in their rent. I mean, so I understand what you're saying.
Can I answer that question on the D6 though? Is they pay the 9,000, but we also give them a discounted rate, and so we reimburse them part of that rent payment because of the governmental status. Same thing with Health West. We charge them a higher rate because we was finding that when they do a property assessment, if we was to sell the building, they're going, oh, you're only charging $7.50 for rental space when the market is $27.50. And so we raised everybody up to charge the same, but then we give them a discounted rate. And so, yeah, some of them are at $7.50, the free clinic and those that we mentioned.
And like I said, but they come to us and we're still giving them X number of dollars, which
Well, then-
that's a conversation piece that we're talking about.
I was gonna say, that's on us then.
Doing away with giving them any money.
Sure.
Okay, with that, we'll turn 3 minutes over to the assessor.
We don't really have a whole lot to offer where we're not talking value, we're just talking exemption. But we are happy to modify anything in our system as you guys see fit.
Okay? So, to the board, further discussion?
One thing we want to make sure we don't confuse is many of these are 501c3s, which is tax exempt, but that's not property tax exempt. That is IRS tax exempt. We need to make sure that when we talk about tax exempt, it's not necessarily property tax exempt. The reason you're 501c3 is you're exempt from income tax.
Correct.
So we just need to make sure we don't muddy the water on that there too. So, and I wrestle with all of these. They all do a wonderful job in the community. I'd hate to equate the value of the services that those people perform for the residents of Bannock County. If they weren't in your building, could they offer the same services? We might be having to give them more money to help do what their mission is if we didn't have them in a great facility. I guess what I'm trying to do is we've got to have somewhere in between that you guys can continue to fill your mission as set up by the Port of Health Trust in this whole transaction that none of us had anything to do with years ago when the Bannock sold the building. So what can we do now that we can all feel comfortable with providing the facility for every one of these, which is good and wonderful, nobody's debating that, versus our responsibility to the county to make sure that we're treating a business or another nonprofit who's renting to another nonprofit the fair equity and not redistributing not shuffle, that we're not moving a tax burden where we shouldn't be moving it. And so I appreciate your numbers. And I guess I'm sympathetic too. We don't need these people double dipping in a way either, coming and getting us taxpayer dollars, to help fund their mission. And then, we're paying taxpayer dollars twice. And I do agree with Commissioner Moser on that. If we give $50,000 to somebody and then we get them that, which if we didn't, they probably couldn't exist anyway. So what can you offer us that we can say, all right, once and for all, we give you what, 43% now?
43%.
And you're asking for 69?
But before you answer that, Clark, I just want to check with legal real quick. Because we're here to talk valuation, can we talk about that tax exempt that he's referring to? Which does impact valuation, but I just want to make sure we're okay to have that discussion while we're talking
I think as long as
valuation.
we're on the up and up, yeah, we can have that discussion.
Okay.
Okay.
I wasn't fully prepared to answer that question.
Oh,
Because it is part of the appeal,
it is part of the appeal.
So you can
we
still
have that
talk about
ability
it.
to do.
Yeah,
that.
so.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure
Yeah.
that,
And I guess, which does bear in mind that that building is partially vacant.
Yes.
Is there people inside that building that are excluded from that are making so-called profit? That is that a requirement to them to be in your building? That they have to be a 501c3 or that they have to be?
They have to be part of our health mission, so they have to be healthcare related in that field. Not necessarily that they're 501c3, but they're at least
Just
healthcare
healthcare.
related. And so that's why I pulled out the partnerships or the for-profits, because I'm going, okay, well, we don't want to give the for-profits a tax benefit because they're for-profit. And so that's why I came up with the 69%.
Okay.
I said all the people the governmental, they don't pay taxes, the 501c3s, et cetera. So I pulled them out, and that's where I came up with the 69%.
Okay, just want to know where your number come from on
And
that one
and
there.
the same
so.
thing for the MOB building, the other building. It's like we just spent $1 million for ISU, which we're not charging them anything to be in there. If they built the building over on campus, they wouldn't have been charged sales tax or property tax. So, for the people on the campus, so. And then, like for instance, we have the physical therapy, PMC's physical therapy that helps with the Medicaid, the pediatrics. And so they're a for-profit, 77%, but we're 23% ownership in them, but I didn't include them as part of the calculation at all in there either, so I carved them out because there's a part that is for-profit, but I guess technically I could put 23% of that in there.
We'd have a formula like we saw yesterday. None of us understood. Don't want to go to formulas, so,
Yeah, I was just trying to make it
yeah.
simple.
So,
Well, Mr. Chair,
yes, sir.
I would like to have some time over the weekend to think about this and bring it back into our agenda on Monday after looking at the data and listening to what he said. Just give me a little bit of time to think about it.
Clark, I appreciate your approach, and I think Commissioner Moser's request is fair. I think you've brought us a very fair offer to move forward with. I think that satisfies kind of what you're looking for as an offer. So we have something that we can work on and find something that works for both of us going forward. So would you be okay if we postpone this to, are we back on Monday or Tuesday for some more BOE?
Monday.
Monday.
Yeah.
Would you be okay with that? And
Monday
would
and
you-
Wednesday.
Would you be available to come back on Monday?
Absolutely,
Well, he wouldn't even have to come back. I mean,
True.
okay. Either way.
unless you want to be here to
Yeah.
answer questions, I mean,
Okay,
but I agree that we need to get something so that we're not here staring at each other every time we turn around.
It's not that we don't like you.
Yeah, I mean, you got better things to do, and to tell you the truth, so does the assessor's office. There's got to be something that we can work, put it in some sort of an agreement so that every year we can move forward and still be a team. I mean, the things you guys are doing, I saw many of these organizations before we had that, before you guys stepped in and helped broker this thing, and it was a mess. Like you say, the Pocatello Free Clinic, I don't know how they would even survive.
yeah.
And so I think there's been some really good things happen, and I just hate to stand in the way of the future and the people they're serving from getting the community service that Bannock County is committed to giving them to them. So
Well, thank you.
thank you for your efforts.
And just as a note, so we have 5 properties. The other 3 properties are leased 100% to PMC, and I have not included those 5 properties. It's just the 2 buildings that we're actually occupying
Yeah.
and that we lease out to other people that are 501c3. So
Perfect.
just as a side note. So.
Okay.
Okay, well, with that, I will accept Commissioner Moser's request.
and give us your packets that you have.
Okay.
And review them the next few days.
So again, I will accept Commissioner Moser's request. We'll get you on the schedule for Monday. We'll have Christie reach out to you and let you know what time we'll talk about it, so if you want to come, you can. And assessor's happy with that as well?
That's fine.
Legal, you okay with that? All right.
Good
so
thing
with
you
that-
showed up here.
Sometime Monday, then you'll let me know.
Yeah. With that, then we will adjourn.
Christie from the Commissioner's Office will.
Oh, okay, so, would you make that motion?
I'd make a motion that we table this till Monday.
Okay, we have a motion. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye. Aye. And with that, we will be adjourned for the